We generally preach conservation and preservation, but there are some animals that lead us into temptation. They make us forget the saying that all life is sacred and turn us into vicious killers. They make us transform everyday household items like brooms, mop sticks, and slippers into weapons of mass destruction. In this video, I'll be giving you 5 of the most recognizable animals by Nigerian households that we instantly wage war against. Number 1, the housefly. These animals are not just annoying to be around when they decide to swarm and perch on us. Housefly also act as vectors, carrying a number of pathogens that cause diseases such as dysentery, tuberculosis, and typhoid. It is also worth noting that while the housefly won't win too many fans, they do play an important ecological role in society. You see the larvae, the one we popularly call maggots. They feed on dead and decomposing organic matter, such as dead animals, rotting food, and even, at times, feces. You might say, what's the glory in eating shit? There's no glory in eating shit, right? Well, think about this. Without the housefly, our environment will be littered with decomposing bodies and the smell from decayed organic matter. The housefly, just as we have people that come and take our waste and dispose of them, are one of the environment's natural waste disposers. I know this information will probably not win too many fans for the housefly either, but it is important that we know their importance. And if you are starting to develop sympathy for the housefly, I can assure you that the next animal on my list will leave no such emotion. Number 2 on my list is the mosquito. These animals are found in various varieties all over Nigeria. They are known for their painful bites and the annoying sound that they make when we are asleep. Mosquitoes also act as vectors for 2 of the more popular and potentially deadly diseases we have in Nigeria: malaria, carried by the female Anopheles mosquito, and yellow fever, carried by the Aedes mosquito. Malaria alone was believed to have been responsible for about 200,000 deaths in Nigeria in 2021. If you live in Nigeria long enough, you would likely have had an experience with malaria. I myself have treated malaria severally in the past, and I can tell you it is not a pleasant experience. Combating mosquitoes and malaria in Nigeria remains a Herculean task, and sometimes it is an all-out war. Mosquitoes are the primary reason why households buy insecticides in Nigeria. International organizations like UNICEF, the World Bank, and WHO have joined efforts to combat mosquitoes and malaria in Africa and some other developing nations by donating hundreds of millions of mosquito nets to these regions. Yet, the problem of malaria continues to persist. Unlike the housefly that may garner sympathy for its uses, the same cannot be said about the mosquito. They do have their uses, but perhaps the most relatable is in creating anti-malaria drugs for combating malaria that they cause. Anyway, moving on, you would notice I'm ranking these animals by order of increased hostility that they get from us humans. Number 3 on my list is one that some of us humans have even come to fear. It is the cockroach. These creatures look like they came from hell itself. And the way they just randomly appear out of nowhere looks like scenes from a horror movie. One of the craziest sensations that you can get is to have a cockroach climb your body at night while you are asleep. It will wake you up faster than an alarm clock. Because cockroaches feed on things like human feces, they act as pathogens for a variety of diseases. Things like typhoid, dysentery, and even polio has been linked to the cockroach. Cockroaches are very difficult to get rid of, and most of them have developed resistance to many of the insecticides that we have in the market today. The best method of controlling the cockroach is prevention, and this is usually done by keeping the home as clean and as dry as possible. But when push comes to shove, and when the cockroaches do get in the household, some of us have resorted to more traditional means of control. But before I forget to mention, cockroaches can also fly, like deranged lunatics. And their exoskeleton is so tough that they can survive being hit multiple times. Yes, you probably should know that too. Number 4 on my list is perhaps the most hated on this list. It is the rat. If there was a way to capture some of the moments that we come across rats in our household, it would make some of the funniest memes on the internet. Rats are masters at hiding and concealing their presence during the day, but at night you would think they were co-landlords. Rats, when they've decided to settle on a household, are very difficult to get rid of. They will keep coming back until you make moves to permanently dislodge them. What's more, they also multiply quite rapidly in a very short amount of time. Rats are amongst the biggest and loudest household pests, and they are certainly the bravest. They feed on, defecate, and excrete on uncovered household food items. Some rats also act as vectors for a number of diseases. One of the most popular diseases we have caused by the rats in Nigeria is the Lassa fever virus, caused by the multi-marmot rat. Rats are very difficult to get rid of, as they are fast, cunning, and highly intelligent creatures that have mastered the art of escape. When it comes to rats, there is no specific way to get rid of them. In all this, we use a combination of conventional and non-conventional means to control rats in our households. However, the best method of controlling rats is by making the household as unattractive for them as possible. Because trust me, once they get into the household, they act like they own the place. Furthermore, having too many rats in the household also increases the possibility of having the final creature on my list, the snake. These creatures are the least likely of all the animals I've mentioned that you'll find in a typical household. However, we treat these creatures like Boko Haram insurgents as soon as we sight them in a household. This is because while they come after our food, or in this case, our rats, some snakes do contain venom that could potentially harm us humans. Hence the hostility. In 2021, the Nigerian social media space was thrown into a frenzy when a woman was reportedly killed by a cobra that reportedly found its way into her toilet where it bit her. Now, as extremely rare as the probability of occurrence of such an event happening, it was enough to strike a national discussion about snakes and got all of us talking about it. There is some good news concerning snakes though. You see, as afraid as we are of snakes, it turns out that snakes are just about as afraid of us too. Most snakes will gladly avoid any contact with humans, so you don't have to worry about the possibility of snakes crawling up at random into your household. There is one snake though that is the exception to this. It is called the West African common household snake, and as the name implies, it is known for commonly going into people's households. This snake is often confused with the very venomous and poisonous black mamba because they have certain similarities in their looks. However, it is worth noting that the West African common household snake is not poisonous at all. I'm very sure that won't change most people's minds on what they will do once they sight such a creature in their house. But I feel that information is also necessary. Getting rid of snakes is pretty simple and straightforward. For most households, it is war. But as always, I believe prevention is the best method of control, and it is left to us to make the household as unconducive and unattractive for these creatures as possible. Well, that will be all, folks. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, like, and please subscribe. We're a growing channel. Leave your feedback. Let's know what you think. Thanks.